Hi everybody, my name's Kyle Sawtelle. K-Money is my nickname, and I'm going to do a little in the bag for you here today, show you what I'm throwing. First off, my bag is a grip bag, the Paul McBeth signature bag from this last year. It does a good job carrying my discs. It's really comfortable, best bags on the market, so check them out. First off, we'll start with my, my high-speed drivers, my distance drivers. I usually carry around 5 or 6. In my bag right now I have 5. And first off, it's a Avery Jenkins Star Destroyer. Really overstable. I throw it a lot for sidearms or spike hyzers. Won't do anything but go left. Really trustworthy disc. Next, my Pittsburgh Pirates. This is also a Star Destroyer. This one's a little bit less stable. Use it more for long distance, pretty reliable. It's been in my bag for a really long time, and one of my favorites with the Pittsburgh Pirates die. Next, I have my Beat Star Destroyer. This one is very understable. I can roll it or throw it for really long turnover shots, and hide it in the bag for a while. Beat into perfection and really good. I love Star Destroyers in all forms of beatness. They're really good, dependable distance driver. Next, we have one of my newest additions to the bag, a Star T-Devil. It's really between a T-Bird and a Destroyer for me in the bag. It's very predictably stable. I can control it without having to throw it super hard, which I really like. And new addition, I think it's going to stay though. I really enjoy throwing it. And last, another new addition, the Champion Turn. These things go a mile. I love throwing it for hyzer flips, tailwind shots. You know, when it gets super windy, I'll disc up to a Destroyer, but it flies a really nice tight line for me. Hyzer flips up straight and just goes a mile. So really happy to have this in the bag. Next, we'll move on to my my Fairway drivers. First off, I have a Champion Firebird with the death shredding Firebird Fire Chicken stamp on it. Real nice and overstable, pretty flat. I love sidearming them. Don't throw them too much for backhands, but really good sidearm utility disc, high wind situations, upshots, one of the most dependable discs on the market. Next, I have the Steve Brinster T-Bird. This one's pretty new to the bag too. I love it. It's very overstable for a T-Bird. I can throw it hard, flat, or even on a little Annie and trust it to come out every time. Fights the wind really well, and really enjoy it. Next, just a regular stock T-Bird. This one's also pretty stable, but it'll stay straighter longer for me. It's one of my go-to discs. I can always trust it, and flies a really nice line. And finally, for my fairways, I have a 167 Beat Old Champion T-Bird. This one is dead straight, super money. Got it from a good friend of mine, Matt Jones, one of my proteges down in Clearwater, and he beat it in for me, and really enjoy throwing it. It holds a nice turnover. You know, lighter weights are a little easier to control, and I can tell my throwing errors easier with it because it's a little bit less forgiving. So it's really a good disc. Move on to the mid-ranges. I have a lot of mid-ranges in the bag. Start out with my overstable dogs. I have a Champion Gator, super stable, great for windy upshots. I really only throw it on a pure reverse shot for turnovers, S shots, sometimes spike hyzers, but normally I'm just throwing it purely for flex shots. And then I have the two-time Paul McBeth I-Die. This thing is also very stable, max weight, pretty flat, pretty stiff, and very reliable. I love throwing this. It fights out harder than any rock I've thrown, and also one of my go-to discs, very dependable. And then the rest of my mid-ranges here. This is my favorite disc in my bag. It's a max weight Big Bird Rock 3. I've had it in the bag all year. It's my main go-to disc. Anything between 250 and 320, I'm pretty much pulling this out of the bag. It holds a nice turnover if I want it to. If I hyzer it, it'll finish hyzer, ride flat for a while. So this thing will be in my bag for a very long time. And got it from Zach Deputy at a Zach Deputy concert. So next, I have another I-Die Rock 3. This one's a little lighter weight, 171, and it's a little bit straighter out of the box, pretty flat top. I really like throwing this for just dead straight shots. slight turnovers. You know, I don't have to throw it as hard as the max weight rocks, so it's a little easier to get the distance out of. And got a really sweet dye on it too, the swirl. Really pretty disc to have in the bag. Next, I have a KC rock, pink stamped. It just dead straight. If I throw it hard, it'll just flip up and do nothing but go straight. You know, with all the new Rock 3s, the new plastics coming out, a lot of people have been replacing them, but I find myself always going back to the trustable KCs, and this one's been in the bag for a while and it'll probably stay that way. Next, this is the newest disc to my bag, the Star Foxbat. I was a little bit skeptical, you know, going into it, but after the first few times I threw it, I couldn't believe it. It flies further than any of my rocks, which is pretty incredible. I would compare it to maybe between a rock and a Mako in flight, and it holds lines really sweet. I was throwing some short up shots with it, and it was just still stayed very neutral. When I powered up on it, it didn't roll over, stayed very neutral, very straight. Holds a really nice turnover line without really fighting to come back to hyzer, and from hyzer, it just holds it the whole way. So I'm going to keep playing around with it, but I'm really excited about putting this disc in the bag. Really looking forward to learning it some more. And finally, for my mid-ranges, the Mako 3, one of my favorite turnover discs of all time. I was never really a big fan of the Mako until they released it in this new 3 plastic, and boy, do I really like it. Mostly throw it for hyzer flip shots. I can get this thing to go up to 360 on a pure anhyzer line. They just glide for days. I can throw this much further than a lot of other mid-ranges, and it's really been a nice addition to the bag. When I power it down, it stays very straight, and it handles power really well. Haven't seen it turn and burn too much, even when I misthrow it, so pretty forgiving, and really great disc I think that anyone could use in their bag. Next, we'll go to my putters. First things, my upshot disc. I throw the S-Line P2 Psycho. Really like this disc. I throw it a lot off the tee for shots in the 200 to 280 foot range. It's very predictable, very stable for a putter. Almost reminds me of like a brand new KC, but in the S-Line it doesn't bead in very quickly, and it's beadless too, which I like for my throwing putters. So definitely check one of these out. They're a really good flyer. Pretty fast for a putter too. It'll surprise you with how far it goes. And finally, my putting putters. I use the Mic Pro AVR. I really like a stiff putter, and I really like the feel of this plastic, but I also enjoy that it's beadless. I feel like I get a slightly cleaner release. They're a little bit less stable, which is good for me on longer putts. I like to get a little turnover into them, and it's a little more forgiving for me if I leave it flat. So I really have enjoyed using these putters. I've been using them for a few months now. They're pretty beat in. Probably time to get some new ones, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And finally, I just carry this one. It's purely for sentimental value. It's a Z Predator, but it's got, you know, I signed it, and you know, these are my dad here, and these are all the guys who I grew up playing with, my neighbors, and so I like to keep it with me. It's just that, you know, a reminder, remember where I come from and all that good stuff, and just a good disc to have in the bag. I never throw it, but it's something I like to carry around. So that's what's in my bag. I'm going to demonstrate the Rock 3, my favorite disc, the Big Bird. Nice and beat in, flat for me, pretty straight. So see how this one turns out. Whew. All right. Next, my go-to T-Bird here, pretty stable, so we'll see. Perfect hyzer. I love that disc. And finally, my favorite destroyer, my Pittsburgh Pirates. First winning season of my lifetime this past year. Hopefully we can do it again. Woo! Oh yeah, that was a bomb. Next I'm going to throw the turn here, just for a big distance shot, hopefully. Get out there as far as I can on a pretty straight line. I don't like to throw a lot of wiggle in my shots. I like to try and keep them as dead straight as possible. Makes the disc a little more predictable. So I'm going to throw it on a slight hyzer flip. Hopefully get it out there 440, 450-ish. Still finished left. I'm pretty happy with that shot. Next I'm going to demonstrate the T-Devil here. Throw it on a kind of a fairway driver type of shot. I'll try and hit it 350, 360 on a predictable straight line with a little hyzer. So really smooth flight. That one doesn't do too much wiggling either. Pretty point A to point B. Good disc to have. So I'm going to try and do a little roller for you with my Real Beat Destroyer. When I can land this thing right, it'll roll for days. Oh yeah. Still rolling. Oh, scaring the birds. Woo! About all I got for a roller. Just want to take a second to thank my sponsors for this year. First off, Dynamite Discs. They picked me up last year and were really good to me, and I'm looking forward to working with them again. They've got the coolest dyes out there. Starting to do a lot more apparel, so you know, dry fits, all that stuff. They got some really neat designs. Aaron designed the world stamp for this past year, so check them out. They're a really cool company and help out a local growing disc golf company. Next, I have the Clearwater Disc Golf Store. They're my local disc golf store. I grew up going there, and it never ceases to amaze me how many discs they have. The biggest disc golf store in the world. They just started carrying Merrills too, so if you need disc golf shoes, I wore them out here at Third on the Mountain today on some of the toughest terrain I've ever played on, and they serve me really well. So check them out. They got great deals on those, and really looking forward to working with them this year and representing the city of Clearwater, my hometown. And finally, I'd like to thank Circle One and Dr. Charlie. He's been helping me out a lot too, and really appreciate that from him, helping me stay out there on the road. So I'd like to thank those guys and hopefully keep it going. Unlock in my mind, throw it